Communication 3810 with a title of it called Communication in Contemporary Chinese Context. Most recently left. And in this book, he takes a journey on Route 312, which is similar to the Route 66 of the United States. It's not the main superhighway, it's not a high-speed rail which they're building throughout to connecting the cities of China. It's not like the air traffic corridors. Rather, it's a highway, a very important highway, that goes from the coastal city of Shanghai, China, all the way out to the to the western provinces, the western province of Xinjiang, where the Uyghur people live, and all the way onto the border of Central Asian country of Kazakhstan. In this book, he writes about the peoples, the places, the many different experiences which he has as he journeys along this highway. And I believe that as you read this book, you will get a sense of what I'm talking about. That China, yes, there is something common, but there are many differences that you encounter along the way. That's the first book that we will read. Another book which we'll read one chapter early on, and then later on some other chapters, is a book by the scholars Gauke and Stella Ting Toomey called Communication with the Chinese. It's a short book, but it's really nice because it gives you a lot of different concepts in different words. And that's one of the things that we will do throughout this semester, is talk about some of the words which map onto different practices and beliefs which are distinctly Chinese, and talk about how that is different, say, from what is familiar to Americans. Another book, which is essentially the second book we'll read in the order of the class, is by Charles Stafford, an anthropologist, called Roads of Chinese Childhood. That's a book that I read more than 10 years ago while I was preparing to do my dissertation study as a doctoral student at the University of Illinois. It's an ethnographic study of a small village in rural southern Taiwan, a place where I have lived off and on for approximately 10 years. In that book, it richly describes what it's like to be a young child, to grow up in the community. What are the important practices and beliefs that parents believe are important for training a child, for teaching a child? What is important for young children as they go to school? He talks a lot about Confucian values and beliefs and how they impact with education. Talks about the local religious beliefs, about what does it mean to be a person? What is the idea of the soul? How do you protect a young child? It's a wonderful book, and one that we will read. And I hope that you get a sense not only of childhood but family, because as has been probably commented by many, many people, what is perhaps shared among Chinese people, no matter where they are throughout the world, is this sense of family and the importance of family and connections. And so we will spend quite a bit of time talking about family relationships and how is it that the individual sees his or her relationship with other family members, and how you communicate effectively. What are the right ways? What are the wrong ways? Finally, a fourth book takes a different approach, and that looks at business. And as I'm sure you've heard anything from the news media, the Chinese economy has been growing rapidly. This year, the Chinese economy will be the second largest in the world, with the total GDP exceeding that of Japan. In 2009, the number of automobiles, cars, and trucks sold in China for the first time exceeded the number sold in the United States. If you know anything about China, you know that economically it has become very powerful and very important on the global stage. But what does it mean to actually run a business in China? Now, as my travels to Taiwan and coastal cities of China, one business which I see, especially in urban areas, is McDonald's. And you may think of, well, McDonald's, they're all the same everywhere. Well, if you go to eat McDonald's in Beijing, Shanghai, or Taipei, you will find it's similar. You can buy a Big Mac, you can get Coke and fries, but it's also different. And this is a nice book which explains how the McDonald's Corporation worked to adapt itself to become very successful in East Asia in different cities. And so we will talk toward the end of the semester about this interest, this interesting link, this how do you apply understanding of cultural norms and values and beliefs and communicate, because that's what business must do to be successful. It must communicate with its customers and the people in East Asia. Finally, I've also assigned a number of other readings. These are available on D2L. And as we will go through the semester, I will talk about those. The last thing that I want to say before I turn this class over to Professor Hua Zhong is that I want you to introduce yourself not only today in class, but also on D2L. And that will be your first written assignment. Why D2L? Well, it's because I can't be with you physically, and I can't see your faces and get to know you. So it's very important for me that you write a little description about yourself, post it to D2L, and I will be able to see that. You may also contact me by email as while I'm traveling. I still have a contact with email, and I can see and read your comments and respond to these. So I hope this has been a brief introduction that tells you a little bit about the class, but more importantly, I hope that you not only learn what I want to know, but I also can learn what you want to know and gain from this class. So I turn the class over now to Professor Hua Zhong, who will lead the rest of this class as well as the next 2 weeks, and I'll see you back on Tuesday, February 2nd. Thank you. Bye.